live chat. The Psychetruth live chat, every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time on your YouTube machine. Live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. I'll answer your questions about whatever you want to talk about on the Psychetruth. Live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. Live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. Ooh. Live chat. Got a curl going in my mouth there. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here and welcome to my weekly live chat. This is your opportunity to put me on the spot, if you will, asking your questions about health, weight loss, fitness, stress, ASMR, whatever falls under that big umbrella of health and wellness, just trying to feel better in our bodies. That's what this is all about. So I have made hundreds of videos on this YouTube channel, Psychetruth, about all those topics I just named. So this is your chance to either ask something more specific or maybe just ask something that I've never talked about before. Who knows? Anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here. Let me set the guitar down and I will start getting to your questions. Alrighty. Got Sanella in the background doing some yoga. Alrighty. Okay, very cool. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. So for those of you in the chat room, I already see a couple of questions coming in here. But if you will put some question marks at the beginning of your question, it'll make it easier for the questions to kind of stand out among all of the comments. I love that you guys are all into chatting and talking with each other. But it gets to be a little hard to find questions. So question marks at the beginning of your question. Alrighty. Okay, here we go. Now I'm seeing... Okay, Devin McCrae says, what are your thoughts on intermittent fasting? So this is actually a topic that gets addressed a lot in this chat room. And I'm going to grab my little timer here so that I am not spending too long on any single question. Okay, fasting. You know, before I really get into my answer, I want to just say this. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of different weight loss fads. Basically, when I say weight loss fad, what I mean is some either diet or approach or fitness regimen or whatever it is that people are doing looking for a quick fix to help them lose weight. And so intermittent fasting, I feel, is another one of these things that can kind of fall into this category. So I just want to differentiate between the weight loss fad of intermittent fasting and actually using fasting in a healthy way, because I think these are kind of two different things. So from the perspective that you are going to be basically eating the diet you're already eating, you don't want to change the foods you eat, you don't really want to start an exercise regimen, but can intermittent fasting help you lose weight? And the bottom line is this: fasting is stressful on the body. Whether you're just skipping a meal or skipping breakfast or just trying to go as long as you can without eating or something like that, the bottom line is that when the body is really hungry, this is stressful on the body. So if you're already leading a really stressful lifestyle, you work really hard, you don't get enough sleep, you're always on the run, you're always moving really fast paced, then fasting is probably going to hurt your health and your waistline, because it's only going to increase the stress that you are putting yourself under. To contrast that, if somebody is eating really healthy, they exercise on a regular basis, they are not living a sedentary lifestyle. So that just means you're doing some kind of stretching, movement, walking throughout the day, as opposed to someone that sits all day at work, sits in the car, comes home and sits on the couch. All right, that would be a sedentary lifestyle. So for somebody who's actually living a really healthy lifestyle and eating pretty well, fasting can be very, very beneficial. The whole idea of fasting is that it gives your digestive tract a bit of a break so that it can play catch up, digesting all of the things you've eaten in your life. And so, it's hard for me to really give a one-size-fits-all answer. Doing intermittent fasting or juice fasting, where you actually drink a green juice or something like that in place of food, so you're fasting from solid foods, but you're still drinking either green juices or green smoothies, that's my preferred way to fast. And even something like intermittent fasting, it can be helpful, but by and large, for the lifestyles that most people are living, which is they're too stressed out, they're not really eating well enough, they're not getting enough exercise, fasting is only going to put more stress on your body. And when your body is stressed out, it clings to that excess fat, right? That excess fat that our body stores up is kind of its insurance system, so that if there is a famine, if there is no food, you'll be able to survive because of all of those excess stores. So that's why stress is going to make the body hold on to that excess energy, hold on to that excess fat. So I would say, my thoughts on intermittent fasting are that it can be beneficial for people who are already really healthy, but for the average person who's just looking for some way to lose weight, some easy way to lose weight, fasting is not the way to go. Razor Blade, where is Jen Hillman? Jen is a very, very well-traveled young woman. She has been traveling to Thailand and all kinds of different amazing places. She's actually kind of moved over to Yoga TX, another channel. So you can still find her online, but she is a very, very busy gal. Does a lot of traveling, a lot of teaching yoga abroad. Adesh Biswa says, how can I lose weight fast? And then Iorori, I'm not sure exactly how to say that, says, how much weight should you lose each week when you're on a diet? So I'm going to kind of combine these two, and then I'm going to actually use my timer that I pulled out here. Since I'm combining the two questions, I'm going to give myself 4 minutes on this. And since the last question was about, intermittent fasting for weight loss, I think this is a good topic. So let's just talk about weight loss in general and a few of the key principles that are either going to prevent you from losing weight or actually help you to lose some weight. By and large, I say this a lot because it really hits home for me. And easy come, easy go. What I mean by that is that the faster you lose weight while you're dieting, okay, easy come, easy go, easy come right back again. Okay, so the faster that you lose weight while you're on a diet, the faster you're gonna regain weight when you go back to your regular ways of eating or you stop the exercise regimen. So P90X is a good example, right? People will kill themselves for 90 days, lose a bunch of weight, but then the percentage of people who gain the weight back when they finish the P90X is alarming. So my personal perspective, my personal philosophy is that it's going to be a lot more sustainable to lose weight more gradually but by doing things that really are changing your habits and building in good habits that are not just going to last for the duration of the diet, or not just going to last for the duration of the P90X. Because the bottom line is that if you go on a diet, someday you're going to come off the diet. And it's either going to be like, I can't do this anymore, blah, 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 right? And you eat everything in sight. Or you just get to a point where maybe your body can't handle it anymore. Maybe your body can't take the stress anymore. Or it's something more structured like P90X or whatever, where you're actually on a schedule, right? And then there's some day that's going to end and you're going to stop working out so vigorously. And guess what? All of that weight comes back. And actually comes back with a vengeance, you could say, right? So, thinking with those kind of items or those kind of perspectives in mind. Sorry, my hair is being kind of wonky. Let me just get my hair going on here. What's going on? So easy come, easy go. My personal opinion is that a diet or weight loss program that has you losing lots of weight very quickly, number one, is probably unsafe. Okay, it's not really a super safe thing to be losing several pounds a week. All right, and then secondly is it's not sustainable. And that's what I mean about the weight is going to come back as soon as you start going back to your old way of life, or as soon as you stop the crazy exercise regimen that you're on. So what I present to you as an alternative is to stop being so concerned with how much weight you can lose and how quickly, and instead shift your focus to how can I transition my lifestyle in a sustainable way so that I can start losing weight and keep losing weight for the rest of my life until I hit that ideal weight that I want to be at, and then it just becomes maintaining that weight. So rather than being like, I want to lose 30 pounds in 30 days, you're thinking like, okay, how can I take 30 days to transform and really build some positive, healthy habits so that maybe I only lose 15 pounds during the 30 days, or maybe I only lose 10 pounds during the 30 days, but I've built up habits that are going to last me for my entire life. So once you burn that fat off, it's not coming back. That is the whole goal, right? Is that you're not going to do a crazy diet here and then have to do another diet in 3 years because you gained all the weight back. So to kind of answer those questions, I can't give you an exact number of how much weight you should lose each week while you're on a diet because everyone's body is different. Someone who's really, really overweight will probably lose more pounds per week than someone who isn't as overweight and doesn't have as much weight to lose. So I just encourage you to stop worrying so much about how quickly you can lose weight and kind of wrap your head around this idea that sustainable weight loss that you only have to lose once because you're not going to gain it back because you're actually building the healthy habits to help keep your body in that state that you achieve while you're dieting or whatever. The faster you lose the weight, the more likely it is it's going to come right back. So stop being so concerned with how quick you can lose a lot of weight. It's just not healthy for you either. Diets and programs and whatever that do help you burn off a lot of fat very, very quickly, usually it's not very healthy for you. Or it's a case where you're actually just burning off a lot of water weight, but you're not actually doing that ketosis, that burning of the fat cells. There's some different ways that you can see the number on the scale go down without actually burning fat. So, those are all things to consider. Giselle Rodriguez, kind of an uncommon question. She says, I'm very skinny and I'm afraid to work out because I'm afraid I'm going to pass out because I'm so skinny. So Giselle, you definitely need to be doing some kind of movement. So this answer would kind of apply to people on the other edge of the coin as well, which they're so overweight or have such limited mobility from being so overweight that they're afraid to work out. They're afraid to injure themselves. Just understand that you get so much benefit from any type of movement. So just do a stretching video, or yoga for flexibility, or even just walking around your house or walking around the block. For muscle building and for, really extreme fat burning, you do need that intense cardio exercise, but you have to understand that your body gets a huge benefit even from a lower intensity exercise, and even just gentle stretching and yoga, mobility type of stuff is going to be really beneficial. Bottom line is, don't be sedentary. Resist the urge to just constantly sit all the time. They're saying that sitting is the new smoking, because it's so terrible for our health to be sitting more hours of the day than we're not. And that's what most of us are doing. I'm sitting right now and my freaking legs are kind of like, I want to stand up and move around. But anyhow, so just do something, move your body, don't be sedentary, but do what is within your range and what feels safe for you to do. You don't want to push yourself to do something that feels unsafe or, makes you feel nauseous or uncomfortable. Keep it in your comfort zone. And that's going to also help motivate you to do it because it's not so grueling. All right, Lester N says, Corrina, can you please discuss cortisol? Yes, definitely. And then right under this question, Shaha Ralph is asking about a flat tummy. So interestingly, these two questions will coincide a little bit. Let me get my timer going on here. Okay, cortisol. Cortisol is just one of several different stress hormones. Now, the thing to understand about stress is that it is a survival mechanism in the body. The stress response, and what I mean by that is that when the brain mentally registers stress, a stressful situation or a threat, so in, when you're thinking about, the classic example of fight or flight, the brain registers that there is a threat in the distance. And so that stress response, that cortisol, is released so that you can fight or flight. So the whole purpose of cortisol and the other stress hormones are to help you survive. And you really have to understand that, because it's going to help you understand how you can reduce your stress. All right, so cortisol, the stress hormone, it's there to help save your life. But unfortunately, in the lives that we are now living, right, where we're not needing to fight or flight from stressful situations. In this day and age, the stressful situations are traffic or an annoying work relationship with somebody that drives you crazy. It's being stressed out by money, financial concerns. So the stress hormones that are there giving you the energy to fight or flight are actually end up being very harmful to our health, because we're neither flighting or fighting. And for the most part, we're sedentary, right? For the most part, we're actually not fighting or flying like at all, right? We're living very sedentary lifestyles. So the cortisol, the stress hormones, start to build up and they start to have a negative effect on our health. There's a lot of terrible things about cortisol. But one of the big things that I think is very relevant to a lot of people in this day and age is that cortisol is directly correlated with belly fat. So that's why I said that Shaha Ralph's question about a flat tummy actually ties in with this conversation about stress and cortisol, because they know that people with elevated cortisol levels tend to have more accumulation of fat around the belly. So I could go into talking about why that is, but I actually have talked about that in several videos. If you put in belly fat on our channel and look for some of my nutrition videos, I've talked about the correlation of belly fat with stress many, many times. So those increased cortisol levels are also going to contribute to conditions of anxiety, of insomnia, when your stress levels are high and your body is trying to give you that adrenaline rush so that you can fight or flight, we can think about things like restless leg syndrome. We can think about things where, we can think about situations where we are unable to sleep because we feel anxious, we feel restless. In order for the body to relax, those stress levels, those hormone levels have to lower. So people who are going through their existence with a constantly elevated level of cortisol due to all the stress in their lives, you can see where this can really easily equate over to sleeping problems, anxiety, and stuff like that. So really quickly, just to touch on lowering your stress levels, lowering your levels of cortisol, managing your stress is so important. So having things that you can do when you're stressed out to help lower that stress response. Because even though stress feels like it's just something that happens in here, understand that it is a physical experience. There's a physiological change in the body that occurs when the brain is registering stress. So deep breathing, or doing some kind of relaxing meditation, or really just anything that helps you to feel more relaxed. So maybe it's listening to music, maybe it's walking outside. The bottom line is to kind of come up with your own toolkit, you could say, of things that you can do when you start feeling stressed. Also, if you start to incorporate yoga for relaxation, and do the yoga for relaxation a couple times a week, not just when you're stressed out. Because by the time that you're feeling stressed and you're feeling anxious and you're at your wit's edge, now it's kind of, maybe it would still be beneficial for you to do the yoga video. But I just know from how I feel when I'm stressed out that sometimes you don't feel like doing the yoga for relaxation, right? So if you can do it on a regular basis, it's going to help overall lower your stress levels. And then also when you enter those stressful situations, you'll find that you don't get so overwhelmed. That's a big part of the benefits of yoga, is dealing with stressful situations in a graceful way. Dealing with that overwhelm or those feelings of, I hate to keep using the word stress over and over, but that's what it is. When those stressful situations occur, having a regular yoga practice helps to strengthen your abilities to cope with that stress in a healthy way and to not feel totally overwhelmed by that stress. Clara Espinosa, how to reduce cellulite at home. So cellulite is a combination of things. It is a lot of toxins getting stored up in fat cells. That's what creates the visual appearance of the cellulite. So anything that helps you detoxify is going to be really effective for reducing cellulite. So there's a lot of different detox tea type products out there that could be a beneficial thing to add. Also understand any type of movement helps you detoxify. I actually did a whole video yesterday talking about stress, and I mentioned this. I've said this a couple times in the live chat, so forgive me if it's repetitive, but thinking of your body like a stagnant pond. So when you're walking through the woods and you come across a pond and it's stagnant and it's just sitting there and there's no movement and it's kind of get this little nasty film on it, that's what's happening in a sedentary body. And I think that visual image of a stagnant pond is a really great way to understand what's going on in your body. So all of those toxins are trapped. They can't get out. And so they sit there and they stagnate, and it gets more and more disgusting and more difficult to ever clear that pond out and make it clean again. So in contrast, a pond with moving water, the water is clear, it's beautiful, it's clean, right? And what is the difference? Movement. The movement of the water through that pond is the only difference between whether it's clean and clear or whether it's stagnant and disgusting. So movement in the body is the same way. Doing stretching, doing yoga, doing really any type of movement, whatever it is other than sitting around or laying around, is going to help encourage not only your blood circulation, but also your lymphatic circulation. So that would be another really key thing with cellulite. So the lymphatic system is a system of fluid that runs just below the skin, but above the blood vessels and stuff. And so the lymphatic fluid carries all types of really valuable nutrients and proteins and things that are helpful, and it also helps to transport toxins. So again, the more that you encourage that healthy lymphatic system, that is going to help encourage the reduction of cellulite. So you can do that with, again, stretching, movement. There's a yoga pose where you put your legs up a wall. That is going to be a really good effective thing for helping to encourage lymphatic flow, and from a blood circulation standpoint as well, because when you put your feet up, and now where they've had gravity pulling down all day, now we're reversing the process. And the first couple times you do it, you'll find you can only sit with your legs up the wall for a couple minutes. But if you start doing that, every day or a couple times a week, you'll find you can stay longer and longer. It's also really incredible for the low back as well, laying with your legs up the wall. We've had several yoga teachers actually show that in their videos. What else? Massage. So lymphatic massage can be helpful. But then there's also a whole lot of different like roller type things that I've seen as promoting cellulite reduction. I don't have any personal experience with those types of products, but I would imagine they certainly can't hurt the situation, because they're going to be encouraging that circulation, encouraging that movement. And then the last thing I would mention is, doing some lower body workouts, in the same way that, or I don't really know what that thought was, but bottom line, if you want to get rid of cellulite, then burning fat off of your lower body is also going to be very effective. And again, it helps with all of those other things that I mentioned as well. So I'm seeing a lot of questions here about how can I lose 5 kilograms in 20 days? How do I lose weight in a month? And so I'm just going to ding home what I already said a little bit earlier, which is easy come, easy go. The easier and the faster that you burn the weight off, the easier and the faster that weight is going to come right back. So if you don't care if you lose 20 kilograms in a month and then gain them right back the next month when you go back to your old way of eating, then fine. Cut refined carbs from your diet. I think that is probably one of the biggest things. If there is any one single thing that someone could do and drastically see changes in their body, cutting the refined carbs from your diet. So that's white bread, white pasta. When you see the ingredient list and it says enriched flour, that's the bad guy. That's what you want to avoid. If you're going to eat any kind of grain or flour products, it should say 100% whole wheat on the ingredient label. And you actually have to read it, because even a lot of the wheat breads out there, even that stuff that's called health nut bread, all right, if you actually look at the ingredients, it has that enriched flour in it, just like the Iron Kids and just like the Pepperidge Farm and all those other ones, all right, but avoiding those that enriched flour, refined carbohydrates, sugar, sodas, that alone can drastically help you lose weight. Regular exercise routine. If you really want to burn fat, you should be doing an hour of cardio exercise a day. But start wherever you got to start. And if it starts with 10 minutes a day to help you build up a good habit, or even just 5 minutes a day, then start wherever is good for you. And then maybe once a week, you can extend it to 20 minutes. And then move towards twice a week, you extend to 20 minutes. Bottom line is just move your body, all right? And, figure out something that is doable for you. If it feels really ridiculous to think about doing an hour of cardio exercise a day, then pick something that feels reasonable for you and just start there. And I would really discourage you guys from having this, I need to lose weight fast. How can I lose weight this quickly? I need to lose this much weight in this much time. If you can let go of all of those things and just focus on, I want to get healthy. I want to build healthy habits that are going to help me like have control of over my weight for the rest of my life. You're going to be in a much better situation. I do not specialize in helping people lose weight incredibly quickly. I specialize in helping people get healthy and helping people to sustainably lose weight. But that doesn't happen really, really quickly. Okay, foods for a flat tummy. And then I see another question here about, I'm a fairly small woman, but I have a problem with belly fat. Can you suggest a diet? So maybe these questions came in before I talked about the cortisol and belly fat thing, but I'm just going to ding that in because it's so important. There is a strong correlation between belly fat and high cortisol levels. So cortisol is your stress hormone, or one of the stress hormones. So there's an extremely strong correlation between stress and belly fat. One of the best things you can do if you're trying to lose belly fat, excuse me, can't get comfortable. One of the best things you can do if you're trying to lose belly fat is to reduce your stress levels. So doing yoga for relaxation on a regular basis, doing some kind of stretching, breathing exercises, guided meditations, and just making sure that you get plenty of sleep is so important. From a food perspective, I would again mention, thinking about reducing those refined carbohydrates, reducing the flour, reducing the sugar, high fructose corn syrup, all of those things. If you're someone that's trying to lose weight and you're still drinking sodas, that is just like inconceivable, okay? All of that excess sugar, especially those hidden sugars that you drink all throughout the day, you're sipping on sodas, eating candy, stuff like that. All of those sugars are really, really terrible for you. We don't often associate a soda with fat. We can look at a burger and associate a burger with fat, but understand that a soda is just as terrible for your waistline as a burger. I don't know how to ding that in, but okie dokie. Okay, so lots of questions about losing weight on the stomach. This one is from Unique Girls. What's the best exercise to lose weight on your stomach? And I think somebody was asking about like the lower abdominal area. So that lower abdomen is very, very strongly worked when you lay on your back and lift your legs. So when you think about that V-sit position, it's like a yoga and Pilates thing where you actually, your back is slightly tilted and then you lift your legs. That is an incredible, incredible pose for reducing belly fat. And you can kind of play with that. So if you were actually, let's say you're sitting in the V-sit, if you actually laid back and relaxed on your elbows, so you were like laying there like this, and then just lifting your legs, and then just when you're bringing them down, barely hover over the ground and then lift them back up again. That is going to be an incredible workout on your lower abdomen. Also, any kind of like jumping can be really, really good for the abdomen, right? Because you're like lifting your legs up, right? That, or even just standing, if you're just standing and you were like, what could I do to help my belly? High marching. You like lift your knees up really high, is actually a really good belly fat targeter. Any type of like twisting motions are going to be really, really effective for your belly as well. One thing you need to understand though is that your abdominal muscles are actually very small compared to your glutes or your quads, right? You can think there's big muscles in the lower body, right? That's why we want to lift with our legs, not with our back. Because the back muscles are actually very small and weak compared to the quadriceps, right? Which are huge muscles. So if you actually want to burn off fat in the belly region or anywhere on your body, understand that you need to work out those big muscle groups, because those are the ones that are going to burn the most energy and use up the most fuel. So just to really understand that if you want to lose belly fat, you've got to do more than just abdominal exercises. The abdominal exercises are going to help. They're going to help give you the shape, the strength, the ab muscles that you're looking for. But to actually burn fat from the body, you've got to do some cardio exercise using some of those bigger muscle groups. Tommy Canal, thoughts on cooking oils, flaxseed, coconut, or olive. Your healthiest way to cook is going to be without water. Is going to be without oil, using just water. So steaming, poaching, I guess it's called, not broiling, but anyways, there's a couple different things, and the whole idea is that you're really just using water. For the most part, you lose the nutritional benefits of the oil when you cook with it. So olive oil, coconut, etc. When you heat those oils up, they chemically change. And in a lot of instances, we actually lose the health benefits associated with those oils. That's why when you see an oil that says cold pressed oils are considered to have much more nutrient capacity because they are extracted without heat. So anytime you're adding heat to an oil, you're changing the chemical structure of that oil, and you change the health benefits. So the healthiest way to cook is without oil at all. If you are going to cook with oil, I would recommend coconut is the best oil for cooking, and it's because it has a high heat point. What I mean by that is that it has a higher, it can be heated up to a higher temperature before it starts chemically changing. So with olive oil, for instance, you just start barely heating up olive oil and you've already changed that chemical structure and lost a lot of the health benefits associated with olive oil. Coconut has that higher heat point, so it's the best oil for cooking. But again, if you're concerned with the healthiest, making the healthiest food of all, just cook with water whenever you can. One little trick that I'll do is that I'll steam my vegetables just with water, and then after they're done cooking and I pour the water out, I'll put a couple little pads of butter on them, and maybe like a little bit of salt and pepper or something, so I can still get the flavor of the butter. And I consider butter to actually be a healthful food, especially if you can find the grass-fed butter. Okay, butter made from milk that comes from grass-fed cows. It's kind of funny. But anyways, as opposed to actually cooking the butter and cooking the food in the butter, just add your oil or butter afterwards, and understand that if you want to get the health benefits from the oil, you should not heat it. Okay. Deborah Council, how do you start? Which is the hardest part to change? I don't know what that's in reference to. How to start in getting healthy? Curly Bird L says, I need to de-sick my house after being sick. Any tips and tricks to not use harsh chemicals? So we have a product. This is actually made locally in Austin. Silver Botanicals is the name of the brand. I love this stuff. I was spraying it in here right before the chat. But anyways, it's a colloidal nano silver cleaning spray. Although, Colloidal silver is awesome. Silver is a natural antibacterial. That's why when you hear people talk about eating off of a silver spoon, that saying, the reason that rich people started eating off of silver way back in the day is because they found out that when you ate off of silver, you didn't get sick as often. Then they later discovered that it's because silver has a natural antibacterial property. But anyways, so this one is a colloidal silver and essential oil blend. You can also, there's a lot of different natural cleaners out there. Vinegar can also be used to clean your surfaces. That's a great non-toxic way of cleaning. Baking soda is another thing that can be used for healthy natural home cleaning. I believe that we actually have a couple of videos on this topic, if you are to check on the channel. Tahira Wilson, could I take activated charcoal and diatomaceous earth and bentonite clay to do a cleanse? You probably could. I have not actually taken those things internally before. I do know personally some people that have taken bentonite clay, but it's actually, it comes like in a big bottle, it's made for consumption, rather than just like using the bentonite clay that you would use to make a face mask or something. I'll actually make sure that you're getting something that is made for eating. I wouldn't take all three of those things at one time. I think it could actually be a little bit too much of a detoxification factor. By and large, I encourage you to really follow a cleanse that has been developed by a nutritionist or a doctor, rather than just being like, I'm going to cleanse and take all these random different things. Cleansing is such a freaking complex topic. But I have several videos on the topic of cleansing if you want to look those up. And again, guys, do your research. If there's something that you're really interested in or you want to find out about it, you can find so much information online these days. And I'm sure that there are plenty of people out there who have talked about cleansing with those various ingredients. Reality check. What's the best bread to eat? Honestly, the best bread is probably no bread at all. Your most natural sources of carbohydrates should ideally come from things like brown rice, quinoa. It looks like quinoa. But quinoa is a wonderful, it's actually not a grain, it's a seed, but it's a great grain substitute. It has a lot of protein. So brown rice, quinoa, then there's a lot of other grains like millet and amaranth. Those are going to be your best choice when you're looking for a grain or carbohydrate type thing. If you're going to eat bread, you really, really need to be careful reading your food labels. Even the wheat bread that's out there, there's even a bread called health nut bread, but it's got enriched flour in it. The problem with the enriched flour is that it is not the full grain. So when you have a grain of wheat, there's a germ, an endosperm, and then there's like some other layer, bran, germ, and endosperm. So to make the enriched flour, they actually take two of those different parts out. And what you're left with is just the starchy part of the grain. So this is part of why when we think about Iron Kids bread and stuff like that, it's real glutinous, right? It's real sticky and stuff. That's because they've isolated out the starch, and you're really just having the starchy part of the grain. So the problem with that is that you lose all the fiber. You lose, maybe not all, but most, okay? You lose most of the fiber. You lose pretty much all of the minerals and other nutrients that would naturally be present in the wheat grain. So if you're going to eat bread, you should be eating something that's 100% whole wheat bread. And you actually need to read the ingredient label. Just because it's brown, just because it says wheat on it, there are so many wheat breads out there that still contain that enriched flour. And that's the really big bad guy you want to avoid. There's a brand here called Ezekiel. It's actually in the refrigerator or frozen section of the grocery store. It's not on the regular bread shelf. But that is a really wonderful, that's a sprouted grain bread. That's taking it up even an extra level. But by and large, most of the breads out there are pretty terrible. Between the added sugar, the high fructose corn syrup, the enriched flour, brominated vegetable oil, another thing that they add to a lot of breads, just make them one of those foods that I really, encourage people to avoid, both for your health and your waistline. There's a lot of questions. Vanilla mocha, is there a way to specifically target belly fat without doing hundreds of crunches every day? There is no way to spot reduce. And what I mean by that is there's no way to be like, I want to just lose weight in this one area of my body and nowhere else. That's really not something that we're technically able to do. Now, within, coming up with an entire exercise regimen and really developing, your routine and the exercises you're going to do, I think there are ways to target certain areas of the body, right? But from the perspective that you can just burn a really big amount of weight from one area, is really not something that that is considered to be possible in the world of fitness. Now, belly fat, I've already said this twice in this chat, belly fat is highly correlated with stress. So one of the best things that you can do to help yourself burn off belly fat is reduce your stress levels. Doing regular yoga, especially yoga for relaxation, start doing that a couple times a week and you'll actually find your overall stress levels are reduced. Your ability to handle stressful situations becomes better and better. Reducing stress, getting more sleep. I can't say that enough. And who doesn't want to do those things? Like, really? I gotta sleep more to lose belly fat? Great. Doing hundreds of crunches every day is not necessarily gonna help you. I mentioned this earlier as well. If you really want to burn a lot of fat off the body, you've got to work out the big muscle groups that make a big energetic demand when you use them. So that's like your glutes and your quads. Those are huge muscle groups. So even though you want to lose belly fat, you got to be doing that lower body workouts as well. This is one reason why I love yoga, because it's a full body workout. It also is very mindful of building flexibility, building mobility, and balancing out the different movements and poses that you're doing. So as compared to a regular fitness routine, I love yoga because it really is geared at helping you bring everything into balance. Somebody, Jennifer Reynolds says, I'm trying to lose weight. I want my legs to look skinny and my stomach to look flat. Cut the refined carbs, cut the sugar. You need to be eating healthy fats. All of you out there that are doing a reduced fat or no fat diet or something like that, please stop. Your body needs healthy fats in order to function. Your body needs healthy fats in order to send the message from your stomach to your brain that you're satisfied your hunger. One of the biggest problems with weight gain is feeling hungry all the time. So if you're feeling hungry all the time, consider, are you getting the correct macronutrients in your meals? And that's a very simple thing. You got protein, fats, and carbs. Pretty much every meal is going to have plenty of carbs. Okay, most people are not carb deficient. Okay, most meals are going to have protein. Usually people are eating meat or something like that. If you're a vegetarian, guess what? You're getting protein from the vegetables. But it's those healthy fats that I think are lacking in most people's diets. Most people are eating plenty of bad fats, fried foods, processed foods, you know, processed meat products like hot dogs and stuff like that, but they're not getting the healthy fats. The healthy fats that we get from things like avocados, coconut oils, fish, a lot of the different seeds like chia seeds and hemp seeds are wonderful sources of healthy fats. So, you know, I didn't mention, I have this crazy, been an hour into the chat and haven't said anything about healthy fats, but all these questions about losing weight, burning fat, burning belly fat, I know it may seem counterintuitive, but actually eating more of those healthy fats is actually going to help to reduce your consumption of carbohydrates. And so that's why eating healthy fat can actually help you lose more weight, because you're actually going to be eating fewer calories. Polly P, I need to lose around 70 pounds and just can't get motivated to do anything. Any ideas, please? The first thing I would say is to change your mindset. Rather than having this big number in your mind, like 70 pounds, which feels a little overwhelming. It seems like a lot, right? And so you're just sitting there thinking, I've got to lose 70 pounds. And just that thought in and of itself is kind of overwhelming, because that's a lot, and that's not a lot of weight in the grand scheme of things. But compared to nothing, that's a lot. So my first recommendation would be to kind of let go of that idea that you need to lose X amount of weight. What you need to do is start getting healthier and start losing weight. So letting go of this like kind of big goal that feels really overwhelming, and try to give yourself a much more reasonable goal. I just got to start doing something. Because anything is going to help you reach that goal more than doing nothing, right? So start small. Deborah, I think, had a question earlier about where do I start? I don't know where to begin. So this would be an answer that kind of responds to that as well. One of the biggest problems that I see when I'm working with people in my health coaching is that they have these really big goals. And it's great to have a big goal. But what I see more often than not is that the bigger the goal, the more overwhelming and intimidating it feels. So let's pick a smaller goal. Or let's just let go of that number altogether, because just having a number is intimidating, and is somewhat overwhelming. So let's come up with some smaller goals. Like, I'm just going to start with 3 minutes a day of stretching. 3 minutes a day. Who doesn't have 3 minutes a day? And so suddenly you've created something that's a lot more realistic than I'm going to work out for 2 hours a day every day. Starting with smaller goals. I'm going to just start with 3 minutes a day of stretching. Once that gets to be easy and you've created the habit of doing just 3 minutes a day of stretching, maybe you only do it 5 days a week. Again, it's about coming up with stuff that's doable for you, because it's going to be way more effective if you do it than if you give yourself a goal and then you don't do it. So 3 minutes a day is something that I like to recommend as a good place to start. And then from there, you can slowly move up to 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. Maybe once a week you do 20 minutes. And so suddenly you are creating this new healthier habit where every day you're doing some kind of stretching or movement or walking around the block or whatever. From a dietary perspective, again, you can kind of apply that same guideline. So rather than having this really big goal, like I'm going to completely change my diet, I'm going to stop eating sugar and stop eating refined carbohydrates and stop drinking sodas and stop drinking coffee, you're going to pick something that's a lot more realistic and smaller. Like once a week, I'm going to trade out a soda for a healthier beverage. Or I'm going to start drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning before I have my coffee. This is something that I'm trying to do. For a long time, I was really good about that. And then I started getting into the habit of drinking my coffee first thing in the morning. But water is so important for you, especially right when you wake up and you take like a big long pee and then you don't have any more water in your body and now your body's dehydrated. So drink water in the morning. But that's a great, really simple habit, right? So let go of all of those big goals. Come up with some really good, realistic goals. And it doesn't matter how small they are. Once a week, I'm going to eat a salad. Because if you never eat salads, guess what? Eating one salad a week is going to make a huge difference in your health. There's a lot of really good examples out there. The trick is to come up with things that are doable for you and things you can really see yourself doing. And rather than seeing it like, oh, I have all this weight to lose and where do I start and where do I begin and there's so much to do and I don't know what to do, we're just going to switch our thinking. All I got to do is find one little thing to do. And every little thing that I do is going to really, really help me in the grand scheme of things. So, recognize where you're overwhelming yourself by these self-imposed expectations or self-imposed goals. And, focus on finding smaller things, simpler things to do, and build your wins. And then suddenly when you find yourself meeting these achievements and meeting these goals, no matter how small they are, it feels good when you reach your goal. And then you'll find that that positive feeling you get from reaching your goal helps propel you forward and give you more motivation towards reaching your next goal for the next week, which is maybe to move up to 10 minutes a day of exercising or eat 2 salads a week. Keely Rose, if you want to gain flexibility, how long should you stretch? How long should you stretch your back? How long should you stretch your legs? So honestly, Keely, my recommendation would be to go do a yoga for flexibility video where we actually have a yoga instructor who has developed an entire routine that is completely built to balance how much you stretch your back, how much you stretch your legs, how you then because when you do a lot of like back stretching backwards, you have to counter that. And so that's what yoga is so awesome for, because they're going to have you doing some stretches for your back and doing this, and then they're going to balance it out with another pose that balances out, right? So, rather than me sitting here and saying, oh, you should stretch your legs for this long and stretch your back for this long, if you just go and actually do yoga for flexibility and do a couple of different videos and see which ones you like and really see which ones that help you feel better, and actually increase your flexibility, because every person's body is different. But by and large, the safest, most effective way to stretch is to actually, do some of the yoga routines that our yoga instructors have developed, because they have all of those little clarifications in mind. From a general standpoint, they say that you have to hold a stretch for more than 30 seconds before the muscles actually even start relaxing and stretching. So if you're doing static stretches, static holding stretches, as long as you can hold them, really, at some point it'll start to become uncomfortable, right? But at least 30 seconds, and I just, again, would encourage you to actually do a yoga for flexibility routine, because that person has spent a lot of time developing a routine that is aimed to help give you the balance that you need in the body, so that you're You know, you're not overstretching one part, etc. Simona's Letkova, do you think going vegan is good for weight loss? Okay, the whole veganism versus meat eating topic is just huge-mongous. You know, there are a lot of people on both sides. You can find people that really, really strongly feel that you should be vegan and people who really, really strongly feel that you should eat meat. The bottom line is that each of us has to make our own personal decision. But I will say this. Losing weight is not a good reason to do anything. That didn't quite come out like I meant it. But what I mean is that if you're going to go vegan, you should do it for the health reasons. Not because you're trying to lose weight. You know, if you want to lose weight, it's more important that you work out, you eat healthy, you eat plenty of vegetables, you stay away from processed foods. You know, so from that standpoint, you could still be a meat eater and do all of those things. I don't think that you have to go vegan in order to lose weight. And I also don't think that going vegan guarantees anyone that they're going to lose weight. There are a lot of people who lose a lot of weight when they go vegan, but largely it's because they've made an active decision to improve their health, eat more vegetables, lay off the processed foods, and get more exercise. You know, just going vegan in and of itself doesn't guarantee that you're going to lose weight. There's actually a lot of vegans who actually gain more weight because they start making up what they were eating in animal products. They just make it up with refined carbohydrates. Bread, tortillas, potato chips. And from that perspective, you're not doing your body any favors. Pardon me. You know, so you can go vegan if you want to. I'm not going to guarantee that it's going to help you lose weight. You know, and I also don't think that having the, you know, if the only reason you're going vegan is so that you can lose weight, you're probably not going to be vegan very long. Because you don't really have the motivation that is needed to eat that way. You know, it's harder to be a vegan. It's harder to find foods when you go to restaurants. It's harder to, you know, eat at, you know, whatever event or something that you're going to, right? So it's going to take a little bit more than like, I want to lose weight, I think, for somebody to actually commit themselves to veganism. And really, the weight loss benefit that comes from the person being healthier. And you don't necessarily have to go vegan in order to live a healthier lifestyle. Scribble Naughty is asking about, says, Corrina, I feel that an important part of any health regimen is your commitment to it. I lose motivation very easily. Any advice for a mental kick to keep you going? What should I do or say? A couple of different things. Number one, you've got to start listening to that little internal voice and noticing when that little internal voice is being super negative. And for most of us, that little voice is pretty much always super negative. So we degrade ourselves. We feel guilty. We feel like, you know, that little voice in our head is saying, you know, you can't finish anything you start. You're not good enough to do this. You're not smart enough to do this. It's a very, very critical little voice. And it's there to kind of propel us to try and improve ourselves. But ultimately, it ends up leaving a lot of us feeling unmotivated. We have a lot of, you know, issues with ourselves. We don't respect ourselves. We don't appreciate ourselves. And that's really a hard place to be in when you're trying to motivate yourself to be healthy. So cultivate your relationship with yourself. You know, catching that little voice when it's being judgmental and shifting it and shifting your thinking to being more encouraging. you know what? I can succeed at anything I put my mind to. You know what? I can do this. And all those doubts or fears that I have, I can overcome those. So noticing your negative self-talk is a really big one. And then, you know, I think one of the biggest problems, you know, with motivation or whatever is like somebody's going through their life, they're doing well, they're losing weight, they're eating healthy and exercising, and then all of a sudden, you know, there's a coworker with a birthday party and somebody brings a cake to the office and the person eats a couple pieces of cake. And then it's like, oh God, I'm so terrible. I'm the worst in the world. Everything I've done is completely negated because I had a piece of birthday cake and I'm just terrible. And so that right there, okay, that is the negative voice coming in and taking over. So having that cultivation of positivity and forgiveness for yourself is really, really important, so that when you're going through life and then life happens and you get stressed out and you miss your workout, or somebody has a birthday and you eat a cupcake, or whatever it is, that when those things happen, because they inevitably will, you have a handling for that. And you're going to catch yourself when that voice starts being all guilty and judgmental and telling you that you suck. And instead, you're going to be like, you know what? I ate a cupcake. Big freaking deal. That doesn't mean I'm a failure. It doesn't mean that I suck. It doesn't mean that I can't do anything. You know what? It's okay. I'm just going to keep my eyes on the future. Move forward. You know, what can I do now to help ensure that I don't eat a cupcake later on? Maybe it's having healthy snacks in the office. Maybe it's bringing, you know, sometimes I'll actually like bring, you know, a dark chocolate bar. If I know it's somebody's birthday, I'll bring something so that I can have something to eat and enjoy, but then resist the frickin' grocery store bought birthday cake or something. And then also to understand that, you know, when you do fall off the wagon a little bit and do something because you're human, that it's okay. And you've got to forgive yourself for that. Resist that urge to feel really, really guilty and horrible about it. Forgive yourself for that and move forward. You know, you feel really bad about eating a pizza or a cupcake or something. Fine. Maybe you do a longer exercise routine that night. Maybe you push yourself a little harder while you're doing your workout. Or maybe you try to schedule in another workout during the week or something like that. Excuse me. Bottom line is forgive yourself. Don't guilt yourself. Catch that negative self-talk. And then I would also encourage you to, you know, do more of those like healthy balancing things in your life, like doing yoga. We actually have a yoga teacher named Julia who recently did a chakra balancing series. And it's all about just restoring balance. And then each video has a different little purpose. And motivation was in there several times. And she just talked a lot about how, you know, having these like regular yoga practice and, you know, having this balance brought into your life is actually going to be a big part of helping you feel more motivated and feel more positive. Marina Wakefield, how healthy are diets? Scotty McPiper, I have a question. Is playing bagpipes good for your health? You know, bagpipes seem like they would be really heavy. So actually, maybe there are some health benefits associated with playing bagpipes. All right, sorry. Back to the real question from Marina. How healthy are diets? So I've said a lot of this already today, but I'm going to say it again because I love how, I like how she kind of formatted this question. How healthy is it to go on a diet? I personally feel that diets are probably the unhealthiest thing that anyone can do. And what I mean by that is that when you take a specific amount of time and you drastically change your way of eating or your lifestyle during that set period of time in order to achieve a certain result, there's a couple different things that are going on, a couple different reasons this is problematic. Number one, it's very stressful to your body to drastically change things. So if you drastically are changing your way of eating for a certain period of time, and then the diet ends and you go back to your previous way of eating, you've created more stress on your body just by making those drastic changes. So even if you were eating healthy during the period of the diet, it's actually, not as beneficial as if you had made like less drastic changes, but you're actually going to make them for the long haul. The worst part of going on a diet is that you're going to someday go off the diet. So going on and off diets in and of itself is something stressful. Same with P90X or whatever. For a set period of time, you're drastically changing your level of physical activity. Not to mention that P90X in itself is incredibly stressful on the body. So the more that you drastically change something in your diet or lifestyle, understand that drastic change is stressful. So, if you're making a drastic change towards eating healthy and then you really eat healthy for the rest of your life, I guess that would be a good thing. But by and large, what we see happen most often is that the more drastic the change at the beginning, the more drastic the change at the end. Because by the time you get done eating cabbage soup for 3 weeks, you're about to go out and eat 18 pizzas and 15 birthday cakes and 18 gallons of ice cream, and then you're going to think about what to have for dinner. So these drastic changes that shock your system are not a good thing. We can also talk about how stressful it is on the body to lose weight too quickly. A lot of these different diets and weight loss programs and stuff like that, they want you to lose a lot of weight really quick because that's what they feel is, that's what most people want. And judging by the fact that I had like 10 questions in here about how do I lose weight quickly, I need to lose this much weight in a month, blah, 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 I'm just shown that is what people want. They want to lose a lot of weight really quickly, but that's not a very healthful thing to do. So these diets that have you losing a lot of weight in a short period of time are really usually not good for your health. And as I mentioned a second ago, it's also kind of stressful on the body to have those kinds of drastic changes made. From diet to diet, and there's a lot of them out there, a lot of the diets out there are just plain unhealthy. There are some diets out there that I think are healthful ways of eating, but then there's a lot of them that are just terrible ways of eating. And it's miraculous that people are able to lose weight doing those things. But by and large, I encourage people to shift your diet towards being more healthful, shift your lifestyle to being more active. And the more that you can do those things for the long haul, rather than, being on the diet and then one day you go off and you go back to your old way of living, making those sustainable changes is what's going to give you the sustainable weight loss. Guillaume, Michigan. Champions say to train every single day, but coaches say to rest 2 days a week. What do you think? This is such a, that's a very hard question to answer. Are you asking me from the perspective of somebody who's training to be an Olympian? Are you asking me from the perspective of somebody who's not very active and you're going to just start working out for the first time in your life? I would just encourage you to think about what is going to be minimally stressful on your body. You know, Olympic athletes, and, you know, pro football players and stuff like that, they probably train every day. You know, but they're in a very different situation than your average person. For the average person, I think that having those 2 days of rest is a really good idea. Working out in and of itself is stressful on the body. So for people who are professional athletes, professional Olympians or something like that, I think their bodies, you know, they've been working out so much for so long that working out every day is not as stressful on their body as it is for the average person. You know, so anyways, Guillaume, I appreciate your question. It's a little hard to answer because, you know, I don't really have any context. But as a general rule of thumb, I think that having a couple days of rest is a really good idea for most people. You know, people who are trying to, you know, bodybuild or reach a certain, you know, Olympic goal or something, maybe it's, you know, it's not the same recommendation. But as a general rule, I would err on the side of taking 2 days of rest per week, or at least 2 days of a less strenuous workout. So if you were doing yoga for weight loss every day, I would actually recommend maybe you just do yoga for weight loss 4 or 5 days a week, and then 2 days a week you do a yoga for flexibility and a yoga for relaxation. And they're just a little bit less strenuous, you know, but you're still getting your body moving and doing some stretching and movement. Yes, this is really live. Pardon me. All right, Caroline G says, Corrina, do you have any tips for weight loss for people with a busy lifestyle, aka people who don't have time for the gym or planning healthy meals? And then down here, Jasmine 9813, what are some healthy habits that can be adopted? Thanks for that idea. So kind of touching on both of these. Busy people that are too busy to work out. If you are too busy to set time aside, if you're too busy to I'm getting all jumbly here. If you're too busy to set time aside to work out, then you've got to find ways to work out while you're already doing what you're doing throughout the day. So having a standing desk is a great example. And those little flexi stand things, so you can actually sit it back down when you get tired and you want to sit, but then stand that baby up and just be standing up while you're working all day instead of sitting. That's a really simple way. You're probably not going to lose a huge amount of weight by doing that. But I would imagine, you know, over a period of time, people with the standing desks are more fit and more healthy and do find it easier to lose weight than people who sit all the time. There's a little thing I showed in a previous video called the QB, and it's like a little under your desk elliptical machine. And so while you're sitting there doing your work all day, you're actually like ellipticaling. I don't know what the verb form of that would be, you know, but you're actually cycling, you could say. That's a great way, and their slogan is actually work out while you work. It's a great example. While you're washing dishes, while you're brushing your teeth, while you're doing laundry, you can actually be either like doing squats, doing calf raises. I find myself doing these all the time, these little arm circles, while you're watching TV, while you're sitting there during my live chat. Heck, right now, everybody, let's do them together. Um, finding ways to just incorporate some activity into what you're already doing. There's those classic examples of taking the stairs instead of the elevator. Finding a farther place to park in the parking lot so that you're just walking a farther distance to and from the grocery store or something like that. There are actually a lot of videos of people showing like recipe and meal ideas so that you are making a lot of food at once, and then you can either portion out the meals in little Ziploc containers. When I do this, sometimes I'll keep a couple in the fridge, but then I'll keep most of them in the freezer because I know that I'll be sick of eating that casserole or whatever it is. I'll be sick of eating that in a couple days, but if you put it in the freezer, then a week or two later or whatever, you can pull that out, stick it in the fridge. But the bottom line is that, you can do all of your cooking in a short amount of time. Depending on how many people you're also, cooking for and providing for, a lot of the fitness folks that I've worked with, they just have one day a week that they do all of their cooking for the week. And then everything gets portioned out into little Ziploc containers or whatever so that they have meals for the rest of the week. That is a really good idea. I would, again, kind of encourage you to start small. So maybe the first time you do it, you just cook like one casserole and then split that up and portion it out so that you have meals to take with you over the course of that week. And then, maybe the next time you work with like making 2 different things, so that you have twice as much food to last you through the week. I am a big fan of those salads that come in a box. It's like pre-washed salad greens. It's just so easy, so one thing that I'll do is actually make, at my house, I'll make my dressing and put it in a jar and then maybe add some like chopped celery and chopped carrots or whatever. So then I just have this jar of like, you could call it the salad fixins. And I just take that to work and I have my box of salad and I just pour it over. And I made this freaking awesome salad for myself. That's one of my kind of quick things I like to do. Anyways, really good question, Caroline. I'm going to just quickly move down to this healthy habits. What are some healthy habits that can be adopted? So I already talked about drinking a glass of water, a glass of water a day. First thing in the morning is a great thing, but if you don't drink it in the morning, just drink it sometime. But for people who don't drink water, this is a really good habit to start with. And it's free. Drinking water. 1 salad a week. I like that as a goal. Or 1 serving of vegetables. If you don't eat vegetables, start with 1 a week. Hopefully, 1 serving of vegetables per day is a doable goal. But again, you got to pick the goal that works for you. But that's a good example, right? Okay, did I eat my serving of vegetables today? Did I eat my salad today? Did I drink my glass of water today? 3 minutes of exercise. Walking around the block. After a meal, instead of going and sitting down in front of the TV, I'm going to go clean up the kitchen, walk around the block, walk my dog, do something active. It's going to be much better for your digestion to not go and plop down on the couch right after eating. This is good though, challenging me to come up with some different things. Oh, stress relieving stuff. Once a week, I'm going to do a yoga for relaxation routine, or I'm going to listen to a guided meditation. Getting more sleep. One really simple habit is just to start going to bed earlier. Getting more sleep is so good for you in so many ways. You're going to feel more mental energy. You're going to feel more physical energy. The bulk of our actual fat burning, right? The body actually burning fat actually occurs while we sleep. So actually getting more sleep is also going to help you lose weight. Who doesn't want that? Wow, there's a lot of... It just pushed all my comments down. Lingam massage. Michelle Taylor, I am asking about supplements for anxiety and panic disorder. There are a couple of different things to consider. One of the first things I think is so important to mention when we're talking about anxiety and stress is caffeine consumption and sugar consumption. A lot of what we do in our lives when we're trying to get healthier is sitting there and being like, okay, I need to add this, I need to do this, I need to add this thing. But I just encourage people, whatever problem it is that has brought you to the chat today, to consider first, what are some things that I'm doing on a regular basis that could be potentially worsening this situation? So consuming caffeine and consuming lots of sugar would be two really key things to consider. Anyone that's suffering from anxiety, stress, insomnia type issues. So reducing your sugar, reducing your caffeine. Understand that, from a nutritional perspective, there's a lot of mental health benefits that come from getting all of the proper nutrients that the body needs. One really great example is magnesium. So calcium and magnesium work hand in hand, where calcium helps muscles to contract, and magnesium helps muscles to relax. So, a lot of people's diets are actually very low in magnesium. So what tends to happen is we have muscle tension, we have muscle spasms, we have general physical tightness in the body that also manifests as stress and anxiety. From the perspective that, having our nutritional components in line, we can see that just by, for instance, supplementing a multivitamin or supplementing magnesium can be very, very beneficial, because now the entire body is going to have an easier time relaxing and letting go of stress and anxiety. So magnesium is a big one. Interestingly, I can't remember what the name of the nutrient is, but there is a component in celery that is very, very effective for stress and anxiety. I wish I could remember the name of it. It's some kind of long scientific name. But anyways, celery is a wonderful thing for stress and anxiety. I'm trying to think of some other kind of like specific supplements. There's a channel, I can't remember the name of the channel. Man. Actually, if you put in anxiety on our channel, we've got a couple different videos. I'm not sure if we've done one on supplements for anxiety. I know this wasn't exactly your question, but I would encourage you to try out doing some of the, I know Corrina has done yoga for anxiety. She actually did an entire series of yoga routines that are to help with stress and anxiety and stuff like that. Start doing those on a regular basis. The first time you do it, you may not feel like radically different. But if you start doing those videos, do a couple of them a week, 2 to 4 times a week, then after 2 weeks, you will feel a noticeable difference. There's also several guided meditations, which can be very beneficial. If you're not familiar with ASMR, I would encourage you to put in ASMR in the YouTube search box, just those 4 little letters. ASMR videos are all about helping people to calm down and relax and ease anxiety and stress. So I hope that those videos can be helpful for you. Oh, look, there's Knight in Shining ASMR right here. Thank you for being in my chat. It's good to see you. Yeah, therapy for stress and anxiety is a really good thing too. Talking with a therapist is really effective because they're going to be able to kind of have the outside, perspective on what you're going through. And so as you talk to them about your life and your emotions and the different things you're going through, they can help you to identify maybe some different factors or maybe specific relationships or specific things you're doing, that are worsening the situation. My foot is numb. Is it good to cut out sugar? Yeah. And I would just really differentiate between your natural sources of sugar and refined sugar. So when you see sugar on an ingredient label, that is refined sugar. This is the white, flaky stuff that, they serve in the restaurants or whatever, right? That refined white sugar is terrible for us. It's terrible for our stress. It's terrible for weight loss. It's terrible for managing our blood sugar. It's terrible for the internal lining of our blood vessels. There's something called, what are they? ACEs. But the bottom line is that when our bodies break down that refined sugar, they actually create these certain components, which are very, very harsh on those delicate linings of our blood vessels. So actually what they're finding is that where they really demonized fats as being the cause of blood clots, actually these, I think it's ACEs, advanced glycation end products, they actually act like sandpaper inside of your blood vessels. So actually consumption of sugar leads to blood clots, heart disease, stuff like that. So yes, it's good to cut out sugar. That refined white sugar, the high fructose corn syrup, the artificial sweeteners, etc. When we look at things like fruit and the natural presence of sugar in fruits or beets or other types of vegetables and things like that, I think that sugar is really in a totally different ballpark, than the processed refined sugar that we see in a lot of the processed foods. So eat your fruits, eat your sweet vegetables, sweet potatoes, beets. Those are wonderful ways to satisfy your sugar cravings in a healthy way. And the body can break down those natural sugars. They're not nearly as harmful for you as the refined stuff. And the bottom line when you're eating fruits and vegetables is that they're also giving you tons of nutrients. I just hit anyway, sorry. They're giving you tons and tons of nutrients. So, the nutrients that you get from the honey or the maple syrup or the pineapple actually help to balance out the negative effects of whatever sugar that fruit contains. And your body can digest and break down those naturally present sugars. So it does not have the negative health effects associated with table sugar or refined sugar, the typical sugar that most of us are eating. So yeah, cane sugar. Maybe it's better for you than like the regular sugar when it says evaporated cane sugar or whatever. But no, it's still bad for you. And you're right, Carla. They put it in a lot of healthy foods. evaporated cane juice or evaporated cane sugar. It's really not that much better for you. Perhaps it's less refined than the regular sugar, but it's not a healthy food. Thank you, Antoine. Very sweet compliment. I don't know why you're watching this either, Charlotte. Hopefully you're learning something. I don't know. All right, guys. So I'm just going to do a couple more questions here. Oh, Donald Trump is in the house. What's up, Donald? He says, make health great again. It's really funny. All right, Yosef Biska. What are the health risks of under-eating? Okay, really good question. Thank you for this. So all of you out there that are like, oh, I'm going to skip a meal. It'll help me lose weight. Oh, if I'm starving, that's going to help me lose weight. No. Actually, the best way to lose weight is to eat regularly and to avoid starvation. From the perspective of survival, a lack of food, a lack of nutrition, this is like the biggest threat to your life that there could possibly be. Other than maybe like a bear right next to you. But most of us are not coming into contact with bears. Okay, but there are a lot of people that are calorie restricting and skipping meals. So here are the multitude of reasons why that is absolutely terrible for you. Under eating or letting your body go into starvation mode is one of the most stressful things that you can do to your body. So we talked earlier about how stress is correlated with belly fat. So if you're restricting calories and going into this starvation mode, guess what? You're increasing your stress. You're going to increase your belly fat. Eating regularly. You know, I know it's really hard to eat at the same times every single day, but the more that you can kind of have a regimen or kind of have at least a ballpark of times that you're eating and eating on a regular basis, that's actually going to be a really good way to reduce stress. So undereating is really stressful on you. Undereating, the second thing, is also going to lead to nutritional deficiencies, which is also really terrible, both for your health and for your waistline. So you're not getting the macronutrients, the protein, carbs, and healthy fats you need. And then you're also not getting the micronutrients, the vitamins, the enzymes, the minerals, and electrolytes that are essential so that your body can break down those bigger building blocks and use them, right? Because the whole point of eating foods is that those foods become us. We eat protein so that our body can break the protein into amino acids, and then guess what? Build more proteins. So again, under eating, we're actually kind of, I don't know how best to, the best way to say this. The bottom line is that all of the things that are supposed to be going in to make your body, to repair your cells and make your muscles, if it's not there because you're under eating, then that is going to negatively affect your body's ability to build your healthy muscles, to repair all the proteins and tissues and really important organs in the body. So under eating is very bad for you, and it doesn't help you lose weight. Getting some really interesting questions here. Ne mezzo de cammin di vostra vita. I talked a lot about fasting at the beginning of the live chat. So after I end out here, I encourage you to just back the live chat up to the beginning. The first couple questions I answered were all about fasting. You know, so yeah, fasting does kind of put your body into starvation mode. So one of the things that I said earlier in the chat is that, you know, for people that are living a really healthy lifestyle, they eat clean, they exercise, they have pretty well managed stress, right? They're not super stressed out people. Perhaps the body can tolerate fasting for small periods of time. But for most of us, like most of us are really stressed out. Okay, most of us are, we have too much stress in our lives. And then we're not eating the healthiest diet. We're not getting the exercise that we should really be getting. So fasting in that type of person is actually going to be much more stressful, and it can actually be very, very harmful for you. So yes, I'm actually not a very big fan of fasting. I think it can be done in a healthy way. But as a general rule of thumb, you know, I think most people are going to be a lot safer to not fast because it can, increase your overall stress levels and stuff like that. Shelby Brown, do meal replacements such as Slim Fast really work? No, 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 and no. I don't have any in there. Anyways, I actually bought this thing of Slim Fast 4 years ago. Here's the other ones I bought for it. They say sell by November 30th, 2014. These are such garbage that I literally have all of these freaking drinks sitting in here because I won't even give them to my worst enemy, especially now that they're 2 years old. But anyways, I literally just bought them so that I could show the ingredient list. This one's kind of messed up here. But here's off the Slim Fast package, right? Fat-free milk. This is a problem because you don't want to remove the fat from foods that naturally contain fat. Talking about fat-free peanut butter, fat-free milk. Your body cannot digest the protein in that food without the fat. So fat-free milk is a very, very unhealthy food, and it's the first ingredient here. Next ingredient is water. The third ingredient, guess what? Sugar. The third ingredient in this drink that you're drinking to try and help you lose weight is sugar. The number one thing that you should be avoiding if you're trying to lose weight. Then we can move on here. We've got Arabic gum, canola oil, milk protein concentrate, mono and diglycerides, which is another name for trans fats, partially hydrogenated oils. So anytime you see mono and diglycerides, that is not a healthy thing to consume. Moving down, maltodextrin. There's a filler made from corn, soy lecithin, artificial sweeteners, sucralose and acesulfame potassium, the non-nutritive sweeteners, which are also absolutely terrible for you. So no, this stuff is junk. It's terrible for you. It's practically toxic in my opinion. If you put in meal replacement on this channel, I did a recent video showing something that I actually do think is a healthy meal replacement. It's called cachava. But anyways, put in meal replacement on this channel. You can get that video and a better description of the Slim Fast and stuff there. Anyhow, guys, I am going to go ahead and wrap up this live chat. I actually have a lot of emails to get to, and so I'm going to be doing an ASMR shoot tonight, so getting geared up for that. I really, really want to thank you guys for coming in. I hope that you enjoyed this chat. I know I've definitely had fun being here. Love seeing y'all's questions. And I love feeling like hopefully I've helped you to feel healthier and more empowered in your life. If nothing else, I just wasted 2 hours of your life, which, who doesn't want that? Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for being here. I am so grateful to have you, and I really do hope that you enjoyed this chat room and find it helpful. I do this every week, so if I didn't get to your question, I hope you'll come back and join me again next week. Please subscribe to Psychetruth if you have not already. We also are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. So I hope you'll follow us on our social media as well. We're also on Amazon, which is kind of cool. So if you have Amazon Prime and you put in Psychetruth, we've got a bunch of yoga and all kinds of different videos up there. So it's cool. You can watch them without ads, which is really nice. And you can watch them on your television. And I think one thing a lot of people don't know is that there's actually an Amazon Prime app. So if you're a Prime member, you can actually download Amazon Prime on your phone so that you can watch all of the free for Prime videos on your mobile, which is really cool. I had no idea. I just found that out and I thought that was really, really neat. So Amazon Prime, not just for your TV, but if you get sick of watching advertisements, check us out on Amazon Prime because you can watch ad-free. What's better than that? It's time for live chat. The Psychetruth live chat. Every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Oops, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time on your YouTube machine. Live chat. 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 All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. I can't wait to see you all again next week. It will be the first live chat of 2017. Pretty crazy, guys. Anyhow, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for all of your wonderful questions. And I will see y'all next week. That's me. I'm Corrina Rachel. You can visit me at CorrinaRachel.com if you want to learn more about me and my health coaching practice. Thanks so much, you guys, and I will see you all again very soon. See y'all in 2017.